Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Southern Food Labs. I'm Wes Eldridge, and fall's all around us, unless you're in the South. And then we technically have about another month until it gets nice, although it'll be in the 40s this weekend for the lows, so I'm excited about that. But today we're having something special for you. I'm in fall mode, even though it's not quite fall here yet. We're going to be cooking up some butternut squash soup. Hit the top of all of them. So we're actually going to be roasting these to get started with. So I have my oven preheated to 425. And so we're going to just go ahead and cut these in half. We're really excited about these. These are some butternut squash that we grew in the garden. So it's about as local as it can get. And they look good. They look good, y'all. So if you're growing butternut squash at home, a little pro tip is when you're cutting them, leave a good bit of stem on them. It'll kind of help them, keep them from wanting to rot. Okay, these are all cut in half. So now we got to take out all the gooey bits, the seeds inside. So I just want to take a spoon. If you've done this before, you know. But you just dig it down the little hole. There's a little seed pocket down here. So if you were just wondering how much squash that you need, this is about 3 pounds. So you can find an actual 3 pound, thank you Plain. You can actually find 3 pound butternut squash in the store, but these kind of came out a little smaller, and so I needed 3 baby ones to make this. So I've got this parchment lined little baking sheet, so I'm just gonna layer these on here. Hopefully they all fit. It's like playing Tetris. All right, they're looking good. So now I'm gonna take some olive oil, hit the top of all of them, use my fingies and cover the top of all of them. And like anything, you just need to make sure that they're well seasoned. You need to always season as you start cooking and in each step of your cooking. So I'm just gonna hit these with some salt and pepper. These are gonna go in the oven for 30 minutes to an hour, just kind of depending on how big your squash is. I'm thinking these are probably gonna take about 40 minutes, so we'll see. All right, so while these are in the oven cooking, we can go ahead and cut up some onions and garlic. And these don't really have to be too pretty. We're gonna end up blending all of this together in a little bit. Some rough dice is perfectly fine here. So now my favorite part, my fight with the garlic. You can really use as much or as little garlic as you like here. You'll see in the recipe in the notes that it says 2 to 3. I'm actually going to use 4 because I like it a little more garlicky. So I'm just going to slice this garlic. I'm not going to mince it or do anything. It'll burn too quickly if you cut it up too small. So we're going to move over to the stove. I'm just going to lightly saute all of this just to kind of get the flavor and incorporate it into the oil. I'm so much into fall mode, I made ginger snap cookies. Once your oil's up to temperature, you can add your onions into it. You can add your garlic to it. With a little salt and pepper. Once you're going to cook this until the onions become semi-transparent. Once they're there, just turn the eye off and let them hang out until our butternut squash is done. Alright, so I just pulled out the squash from the oven. So let's start making this into actual soup. So I'm going to move all of this garlic and onion from this pot into a blender. Let's get this hot plate over here. So these things are piping. Pretty well done. You can use a fork and they same kind of principle if you're checking a potato. I'm gonna see what I can do here. I'm just gonna work through this squash, adding it to the bowl as I get the skin off of it. Okay, now that's a mess. Okay, let's season this up. Hopefully we can salvage this. We're gonna add some salt. I'm gonna add some pepper. And a lot of these other ingredients are kind of optional. It just depends on how fall-y you like it, how spicy you like it. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit of allspice, a Looks like it's about 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm gonna go in with a little white pepper because I love it. And then some of the spice I'm gonna add is some ancho chili powder to give it some good color. And then I'm going in with a cup of chicken stock and a cup of veggie stock. You can use complete veggie stock if you want it to be a vegetarian dish. I just think the chicken stock is going to add a little bit more richness and a little bit more depth to it. So let's get this guy over. Okay, let's get this going. Let's get a little taste test on it. Salt and stuff's right. I'm gonna go in with a little more chili powder. And then just a little bit more of that allspice. Yeah, a little ginger too. It's kind of cooled off a little bit, so I'm gonna go back into this pot. All right, so I'm gonna put this back on the stove and let it go for another 10-15 minutes just to kind of heat up and let some of the flavors mirror together. All right, so the soup is all done. Got me a little bowl plated up here, but you know we gotta zhuzh it up a little bit. So I'm gonna put some black pepper on top. And take this olive oil. A nice little layer on top. That's gonna add some fruitiness to it. And then a big old pile of croutons. And then some chives. Whew, that's gonna be good. All right, it's time for my favorite part, the little taste test. Let's see if we get a little perfect bite to start with. That's perfect. Oh man, I'm so glad it's soup season. Man, it's unbelievable. Lauren, I want you to do something a little different than I did. Make sure you cook that butternut squash a little bit longer. It'll probably be a little bit easier to take out. You know, it's soup season, so go make your favorite soup. Let's get into it. It's fall, y'all. You know, I'd like if you would make this soup. And if you do, please share it with me online over on Instagram or in the YouTube comments. I want to thank you for stopping by. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Cool.